Tonight on NAIT NewsWatch.
College students get a head start in voting for the municipal election.
A more productive way to meet candidates and become involved? Yeah.
A Hunger Games interactive demonstration teaches kids about the food supply around the world.
When she approached me with the idea, I said, that's really, really good because it gives our children a more hands-on experience of what kinds of unfairness there is in and around the world.
And 2 grateful families received the keys for their Habitat for Humanity homes.
I want to thank all the volunteers for your hard work.
NewsWatch starts now.
Good evening. In an effort to increase the youth vote for Monday's civic election, some post-secondary schools took a unique approach to help attract students.
Yes, the goal is to improve the 33% voter turnout in the last election. Our Kayla Ellsworth joins us live from our news center with more on that story. Kayla?
Believe it or not, 1/3 of the population voting is considered a good turnout. But along with social media, many candidates are trying to connect with the younger people in this case, going back to school.
Is your idea of your current address on? Yep.
For the first time, students had the opportunity to vote in advance while on campus for those running in the civic election. Anyone who was eligible to vote could mark their ballot at NAIT on Tuesday, McEwen on Wednesday, and finally the U of A on Thursday. The idea being, if students don't go to the polls, then polls come to the students.
Few votes can decide an election, and we've had that situation in Alberta. So it's really, I think, important that people understand that that's the first step toward becoming involved in political action.
NAIT officials estimate about 150 students turned out, although the inaugural event coincided with midterm week.
It's been off to a slow start today. We're hoping it'll ramp up a little bit more as we lead into the lunch hour here.
Despite NAIT and other post-secondary's best efforts to get more people out to vote, many either ignored or forgot to take part in the event.
I didn't even know actually that we had an advanced poll.
Just completely forgot about it after the rush of the long weekend.
Elected officials should think about young people as well as the older demographic who tends to vote more than we do.
At McEwen, they tried to spark students' political interest by holding a speed dating style event. Students had 15 minutes to sit down with the mayoral and ward candidates to discuss the issues.
I think that an event like this in a student setting is a great way to offer that opportunity out, and that is going to be the impetus to have people more involved, if not somewhere else in the future at an event like this.
The event was hosted by NextGen and the City Youth Council. 34 candidates for mayor and the different wards attended. They ended up outnumbering the students who took in the on-campus chat session. With the election day on Monday, however, students will still have time to learn the issues and decide who to vote for. Well, turnout was small on campus this week. Those who were there were definitely enthusiastic.
Advanced voting was held on campus for the first time. What are some of the other post-secondary schools done to increase voter turnout?
In 2007, there was advanced voting held on student residencies, but turnout was also poor.
Student voting isn't great, but is there anything positive that came about, Kayla?
Voter turnout actually increased this year. In the first 5 days of advanced voting, there was 8,438 votes, compared to 2010, where there was only 6,198 votes.
Thank you, Kayla. That's Kayla Ellsworth reporting live from our news center.
Edmonton's 5 mayoral candidates took center stage for one last time at the final Mayoral Forum on Wednesday afternoon.
Run the city like a business, not like a political entity.
Hundreds of Edmontonians gathered at the CBC Centre stage to listen to 5 candidates speak about their goals if elected mayor. The candidates have been campaigning for weeks, and this forum was their last chance to persuade the voters. Edmontonians were also given the opportunity to ask questions that are of concern to themselves and the city.
Who can inspire council? Who can unite our community and community leaders, business leaders, NGO leaders, institutional leaders, and who can speak positively about our city's bright future?
Edmontonians will take to the polls on Monday, October 21st.
Plans for the downtown airport lands could be put on hold depending who's elected on Monday. Last week, Kerry Diot stated there will be a hold on airport land developments. He focuses on issues that, in his opinion, need more attention.
we are in a situation at the airport right now where we would have to develop that land as a city. We don't have money right now to do LRT, much less develop that land as it is.
If elected, Diot eventually plans to pursue expanding NAIT after improving other issues in the city first.
A unique forum was hosted this week for mayoral candidates, a chance for them to express their interest in charitable organizations.
If elected, how will you champion?
On Tuesday, the Edmonton Chamber of Voluntary Organizations held a unique forum where all 5 candidates answered questions focusing on their matter of interest in nonprofit and charity organizations.
We're very close to really beginning to reach our potential as a city. I think we're poised right now, in fact, but we need positive leadership in order to rally everybody around that cause and continue to move forward.
Each candidate was able to share a brief presentation as well as acknowledging specific issues in our city.
A tragic death that has occurred a year ago inspired a local artist to bring awareness to the dangers of bullying. This past week has marked 1 year since Amanda Todd took her life due to bullying. A local singer-songwriter, Esma, teams up with the Amanda Todd Legacy Fund to support anti-bullying education and help youth struggling with mental health. Esma's new single, Fall Back, is based on self-confidence and helping those going through difficult times.
Because it's not sad. It is something where people can listen to it and just, you know, just have fun, dance, and just feel really good about themselves. And I think it's really important to have that kind of a message and that kind of energy.
The single will be released on iTunes in a few months with the music video shortly to follow. All iTunes proceeds will support the Amanda Todd Legacy Fund. To find out other ways to go to support Amanda Todd, go to amandatoddlegacy.org.
You're watching NAIT NewsWatch.
At St. Vincent Elementary School, kids learn more about the hardships of underdeveloped countries.
The school is hosting the Hunger Games to help their students learn more about these problems. Our Jeffrey Howard has more on this story.
Yeah, girls, as you can see behind me, everybody here is ready to have a good time. So let's go join them in the games.
This past Wednesday was National Food Day, and to recognize that, Change for Children held the Hunger Games at St. Vincent Elementary School.
And we, as Canadians, are used to eating lunch.
The goal of the Hunger Games is to teach children about how others deal with their food supply in the world.
When she approached me with the idea, I said, you know, that's really, really good because it gives our children a more hands-on experience of what kinds of unfairness there is in and around the world.
Students learned about the lives of other people in the world, including how difficult it is in developing nations to access food and distribute it. It gave the students an idea of how their lives are much different from other children thousands of miles away.
I learned the consequences of being in a different environment, like how they have rain and it's rotten. You have a large family to feed, and I think it just gives this experience actually lets you know a bit more.
The event also gave them a lesson in humility and about how easy it is to turn a blind eye on those who are less fortunate.
When we find everything is well, maybe we have enough food, we can afford to go to school, we forget that there are some people elsewhere in the world who can't afford what we have.
With the fun and interactive approach to world nutrition, this was just the seed, and organizers wanted to grow into something larger.
Yes, we're hoping for many different schools to want to do an event like this to bring awareness about food issues and food security worldwide.
With the success of the second time around the Hunger Games, organizers hope that this lesson in disparity between countries continues. They also hope that the children who participated here today learned that their lives are much different than children their own age in impoverished nations.
Thanks, Jeffrey. That's Jeffrey Howard reporting from St. Vincent Elementary School.
A dream has been made a reality for 2 lucky families who received the keys to their new homes. On Thursday morning, 2 grateful families received the keys to Canada's first ever net zero energy precast concrete homes. The modular homes are equipped with solar panels and concrete structures that will help reduce the cost of utilities for the families. Volunteers began construction on the homes last summer, and a total of 3,050 hours were given by 159 different volunteers.
I feel words don't express to the full extent our appreciation and gratitude for picking our family for this very unique and beautiful home.
The families are looking forward to moving into their new homes and starting a new chapter in their lives.
The emergency room staff at the Grey Nuns Hospital received a special equipment donation from a former patient. 12-year-old Shanti Kamal and her family are no strangers to the Grey Nuns Community Hospital Emergency Department. Shanti and her mother Poonam have made many visits to the hospital for care over the past year. To thank all the staff for their incredible work, Shanti raised $1,300 by donating her long hair locks to the Locks of Love. The money raised was donated to the Caritas Foundation to help support the emergency department.
It feels incredible. I feel so proud of myself. I know I did a great thing for a lot of people, a lot of kids. I'm so proud of myself.
Shanti and her family will continue to raise funds to help support the Caritas Foundation.
Some of Alberta's community leaders were honored with the province's most prestigious award to be bestowed. On Wednesday, 8 new members were given Alberta's highest honor, the Alberta Order of Excellence. They were recognized for their local, provincial, and national successes. Douglas Goss is one of 8 who is respected for his outstanding contribution for his business and his community service.
We can all make a difference if we give a little bit of our time, of our energy, of our passion to our community. That those things are good things, and at the end of the day, not only does it make our society stronger, but I think it's incredibly rewarding for the individual. So.
Anne McClellan and Catherine Rusin are a couple other Albertans who joined the ranks. This will bring a total of 132 members to the Alberta Order of Excellence.
Coming up after the break, find out the effects of caffeine on a student's lifestyle.
We'll see what is okay in moderation and what to avoid when it comes to caffeine drinks.
It is actually a drug, so it can become addictive.
My name is Dexter Waddy, and coming up in sports, I give wheelchair basketball a spin.
Who's on? Fire! It looks like you don't need to grab your winter coat just yet. I'll have your weekend forecast after the break.
And now we'll head to weather with Nicole Murphy.
So Nicole, autumn's been treating us pretty nice so far. How's it looking out there?
You know, it's been an absolutely beautiful autumn. A few pressure changes in the atmosphere, which is causing some wind, but nothing to complain about. Let's take a look at tomorrow's forecast around the province. In Calgary, it's going to be mainly sunny and seems to be the hot spot in the province with a low of 3 degrees and a high of 13. Heading over to Jasper, it'll be partially cloudy with a low of -1 and a high of 12. Fort McMurray is mostly cloudy with a 40% chance of showers, a morning low of 1 and a high of 7. Finally, in Edmonton, we'll see a mixture of sun and cloud, a low of 2 and a high of 12 degrees. The average temperature in Edmonton this time of year is a high of 10 and a low of -1. So we're just dancing around the average. Our record high was a scorching 26 degrees back in 1940, but just a decade earlier, it was the record low of -20 in 1930.
Weather sponsored by NR92, the station for the students.
And you know, the temperature is expected to actually increase for Election Monday throughout the province. Everywhere is expected to see about a 1 or 2 degree higher temperature.
Perfect. I do plan on going out, so maybe I will stroll or walk there, if you may.
Yeah, it definitely seems like it'll be a good weekend to spend outside.
Thank you, Nicole.
Thank you.
Coffee is a beverage that many students drink daily.
And we've all heard the dangers associated with too much caffeine, but as our Kirsten Green reports, a little Java can do some good to the body.
How many cups of coffee do you drink in a day?
2 to 4.
4 to 5.
2 to 3 cups. 1, maybe sometimes 2.
1 or 2. 4 cups of coffee.
About 3 cups. 3 to 4? Probably about 2.
Probably 4 or 5.
Most students consume coffee to help them get through the day. Coffee and other beverages like tea and energy drinks contain caffeine, which help people, including students, to concentrate and stay alert after consumption.
Yeah, it helps reduce fatigue. People get that energy boost and they also feel a little bit more concentrated and alert.
Caffeine can have good temporary side effects when it comes in the form of coffee or tea. Although caffeine may be all right to consume in coffee or tea, It can be too much when consumed in the form of energy drinks. When consuming energy drinks, the consumer is ingesting at least 100 milligrams of caffeine, which is equal to 3 or more cans of caffeine-fueled pop. Although energy drinks may get you that temporary alertness that you're looking for, their so-called power drinks often replace water and other hydrating liquids, and can be harmful when consumed in excess.
Caffeine is naturally found in coffee beans, in tea leaves, and even in chocolate. So it's a natural form when we're drinking it from the coffee beans. But it's an additive component in energy drinks, and on top of that there's a lot more sugar in there, so you're getting a lot of glucose.
And it's the addiction that leads to danger, as these drinks can boost heart rate and blood pressure. In rare cases, although evidence is debatable, there have been fatal results. So, if you're hooked on finding more energy, experts say look for it the natural way, through more sleep and some regular exercise. Kirsten Green, NAIT NewsWatch.
And now our Dexter Waddy joins us for sports. So Dexter, the Edmonton Huskies are finally heading back to the playoffs.
Yes.
And a 90-minute power outage stalled the Oil Kings game the other night.
Yep, the game actually ended up lasting over 4 hours. All that and more coming up in sports. The Oaks men's hockey team is looking to assert their dominance atop the ACAC standings after their last match. Most teams would find it difficult to justify a 6-1 loss, but not in the NAIT Oaks case. The Oaks lost an exhibition game against the Nebraska Omaha Mavericks, a Division I NCAA team. In the midst of a season that sees the Oaks among the better teams in their conference, coach Serge Lajoie and assistant coach Mike Gabinet were ecstatic to have received an invitation to play against such an extremely deep and talented team. The Oaks resumed regular season play at home against the St. Trojans last night and play the Trojans again tonight in Calgary.
They are working to restore the power.
The Edmonton Oil Kings played host to the Prince Albert Raiders earlier this week, a game that was marred by an unfortunate power outage.
They are working to restore the power to the northeast corner of the city.
Just under a minute and a half into the game, fans were treated to a 90-minute wait at Rexall while waiting for the power to return. First period, and once the power returns, it would be the Raiders who strike first, with Carson Perreault putting one past Tristan Jarry with just over a minute to go in the first. Second period, and Curtis Lazar with the penalty shot. He skates and literally slips one right through Cole Chevadale's 5-hole to even the game up at 1 apiece. Henrik Samuelsson and Tim Vanstone square off to the tune of some LL Cool J just before the end of the second period. Samuelsson would receive an instigating penalty as well as a 10-minute misconduct to go along with his 5-minute major. Third period, Oil Kings on the attack. Mitch Moroz redirects a pass from Oil Kings captain Griffin Reinhart to bury his 9th goal of the season. Moroz now has a point in his last 8 straight. Clock winding down. Raiders with nobody in net, and they make the most of their extra attacker. Reed Gardner buries the rebound past Jarry with 16 seconds left to force overtime. These two teams would end up in a shootout, but unfortunately Edmonton didn't have enough power to outlast Prince Albert. The Raiders would win this one 3-2. The Oil Kings are allowing anybody who had a ticket to the blackout game free admission to any one game during the month of November and the rest of October. The Edmonton Huskies are headed back to the playoffs. With a 49-29 victory over the Winnipeg Rifles last week, the Edmonton Huskies won their way into the playoffs for the first time in 6 years with a 5-3 record. After mustering one win in the previous 2 seasons, new head coach Ian McLean is happy to have got the team back to the playoffs.
It's very exciting. It's something we've been working for over a year now, and it's in reality, it's been something we've been working on for about 3 years now, trying to get this team back to where it should be and the way it has been before. So it's exciting, but we're treating it like every other week. We want to go 1-0 this week and try to be as successful as we can in Regina on Sunday.
The Huskies lost to the Regina Thunder in Week 5 of the regular season, but quarterback Trevor Erdman is hoping for a different outcome this time around.
So, we played them early in the season. They did beat us. So we're going to come in, just got to keep playing like we've been playing the last couple of weeks since our bye week. And, we know what they do. We know what we do. We just got to play better than we did last time we were there.
You can catch the game online on Sunday on the Edmonton Huskies website at edmontonhuskies.com. For this week's End Zone Challenge, I decided to trade my Nikes for a set of wheels. Having played basketball growing up, I didn't expect the transition to wheelchair basketball to be too drastic. My time on the court didn't begin too well, as I turned the ball over not once, not twice, but 3 times in a row. Before I had a chance to get comfortable with my chair, it was time to get right into some drills.
If everyone's ready, we're gonna do 10 lines, okay? 10 lines.
Never one to call myself a fan of the suicide drill, running lines was a lot more difficult in a chair.
201, 202, 203, 204. Wheelchair basketball has traditionally been well funded, so the opportunities for development and travel and competition have been fairly high. And so generally also we've had the same core of people too.
With a lot more focus on defense and teamwork, wheelchair ball requires a thorough understanding of the sport and the capabilities of your teammates if you want to succeed.
At some point in my career that I had a chance maybe that I'd be good enough to play for Team Canada. So I was supported in that, and then I was able to make the team, and then it was up to me to try to, you know, at some point focus on being the best in the world, which we were at one point.
How's it going so far? Behind me.
It's getting crazier, man. This isn't what I signed up for.
Hey Dexter, stop winking at the camera and get a drink of water.
So Dexter, looks like you got quite the arm workout out there.
Yeah, my arms were a little sore, but you know, I felt a whole lot stronger the next day.
Yeah, see, I've tried wheelchair basketball before, and it's definitely a lot harder than it looks.
Thank you, Dexter.
Thanks, ladies.
We will help be proactive in keeping Edmontonians warm this winter.
Rachel and I head down to help organizers of Coats for Kids.
And every year, the generosity of Edmontonians comes through. So,
coming up in entertainment, I'm Morgan Black, and we take a look at the newest Pokemon game release, as well as Edmonton's 4 Nights of Comedy.
Haircut and color provided by Ivory Noir, Edmonton's first color correction salon.
On Wednesday morning, Andre and I headed down to Rexall Place to take part in the Coats for Kids and Families launch.
The grade 1 class from Preston Elementary joined us as we helped load the donated coats into the vehicle.
The Coats for Kids and Families is a program that provides warm coats and other winter items to men, women, and children in Edmonton. For 22 years, the Coats for Kids and Families has been supported by a key partnership with Paige the Cleaner, who will once again receive clean donated coats.
in terms of just supporting those in the community that may not be able to be lucky enough to have a warm winter coat.
Edmontonians are encouraged to bring gently used coats, mitts, and toques to Paige the Cleaner locations in St. Albert, Sherwood Park, and Edmonton.
A new Pokemon game has fans over the moon with its arrival.
And the Comedy Festival hits Edmonton with some big names and some even bigger laughs. Morgan Black has all that and more coming up in entertainment.
Edmonton Pokemon fans gathered at the Commonwealth Rec Centre to talk strategy, gaming, and all things Pokemon.
Over 100 Pokefans showed up to the release party to discuss and share their excitement towards the newest release in the franchise. Fans brought their DSs to get a few quick battles in too.
I think a lot of people, again, like they understand when you talk about Pokemon, it's a little bit of a vulnerability. It's a little personal. Once you bring it out, you can find out. It's like, oh, you're part of this fandom. Why don't we connect over this fandom and see where it goes from there? It's a good way of going into a franchise.
The newest games in Nintendo's Pokemon franchise, X and Y, were released last weekend, and the opening week numbers are astounding, with 4 million copies sold within the first 2 days. Pokemon, a hit with all ages, has now entered the realm of 3D. A redesign in the game, and with the inclusion of never-before-seen Pokemon. It also features brand new Mega Evolutions, and a new type of Pokemon, Fairy. This is the first new type to appear in the game since its very first release in Japan in 1996. X and Y is sure to appease fans that have been waiting patiently for its arrival. It is the familiarity of Pokemon that keeps fans coming back. The Pokemon community is a close-knit group, and the newest game is sure to bring them closer than ever before.
Pokemon X and Y is now available in stores everywhere, with special 3DSs featuring the game's artwork. I'm Morgan Black, NAIT NewsWatch. Edmonton's Comedy Festival kicked off Wednesday night at the Ranch Roadhouse.
Music inspires me like my parents should have.
Young Guns, the first event in the 4-day festival, is a show held for comics looking to break into the business. The comedy festival itself runs for 4 days of funny, with shows held all over the city.
Edmonton didn't have a comedy festival for many, many years, right? I mean, that's why the festival got started. My favorite part is going to shows where these shows don't happen in Edmonton.
The festival, going into its 3rd year, runs comedy shows featuring anyone from up-and-coming comics to stars of Saturday Night Live, such as Tim Meadows. Workshops are also available to anyone looking to improve their funny bone. Tonight's comedy show at the Paramount Theatre features Canadian funny man Sean Cullen. If you're a fan of the Jackass franchise, the upcoming comedy Bad Grandpa is sure to strike your funny bone.
Where are we going?
Just keep going straight. You're getting tired?
Yeah. You shouldn't drink so much.
Johnny Knoxville stars as 86-year-old Irving Zisman. He and his grandson Billy are on a road trip across the United States. Irving is tasked with taking his grandson to live with his father after his mother is jailed, but they decide to have a little fun along the way.
You're gonna fix that penguin, bro.
Nope.
Grandpa, this thing doesn't work.
Oh, God. Nothing. Oh! Ow! Ah!
I'm hungry.
Follow my lead.
Bad Grandpa is scheduled for release on October 25th.
Okay, Grandpa.
I have Bad Grandpa screening passes as well as hats and cozies to answer to anyone who can answer this skill testing question. What is Johnny Knoxville's real name? Tweet your answer to @NAIT NewsWatch for your chance to win Bad Grandpa screening passes. Cats, sloths, and foxes have all had their 15 minutes of fame. But in this week's viral video, there's a new animal internet sensation.
Teddy, come here. Would you like some corn on the cob? What is that? Oh my goodness. You have it? Don't drop it. Here's Teddy and his corn on the cob.
Teddy Bear, the North American porcupine, has a lot to say about someone taking his corn on the cob away from him. That's all for entertainment.
Thank you for watching.
Catch us online at naitnewswatch.ca or on Twitter @NAIT NewsWatch. Thank you for watching. Have a great evening.